ค่ะตอนนี้ก็พร้อมแล้วนะคะเราทำการเซตเสร็จเรียบร้อยแล้วนะคะเดี๋ยวเชิญอารีได้เลยนะคะเรียนเชิญค่ะเชิญพรีเซนต์ได้เลยค่ะ
Hello, everybody. First of all, I am Benjamin from ARI Asia. Just a brief background of ARI. Recently, we moved to Singapore from Hong Kong. Previously, ARI Asia was based out of Hong Kong, but now ARI Asia is based in Singapore. We opened a new office in Singapore last year. For those who don't know, we are serving the whole ASEAN region. And now, we are trying to focus more on the markets and the whole industry, the whole film industry in Hong Kong and Asia. And I would like to thank Unformat for giving us this opportunity to speak here. And of course, building up this whole successful event for everybody to come down and see what is the next in the future for virtual production. So I am actually here just to present on one thing, which is the SkyPanel X. So as you know, ARI has not a lot of lighting in the range. We mainly do HMI lighting, tungsten lighting in the past, but now we are moving on to LED lighting. And previously we have the sky panels, the L series, and the orbital lighting. And right now, after many years, about 4 or 5 years, we finally came out with the SkyPanel X. So this is a new light from ARI, recently launched. So this is actually still called the SkyPanel. There is the previous version, which is the SkyPanel X, the SkyPanel Classic, and the SkyPanel X. So what's the difference is basically this is a new generation of panel lighting from ARI. So ARI has finally made an IP66 weatherproof light, which you can spray with a jet spray and nothing will happen to the light. So essentially, this light is very weatherproof. You can use it as it is, without the attachments and with the attachments, and it's still IP rated. So this light is modular. You have many functions and many options and many different ways to use the light. So what the X symbolizes is basically helping to solve the problems of everybody down the line, all the way from the lighting crew, the console operators, gaffers, and even the rental owners. So what this light can do is a soft panel. It is a hard light. It can be used as a bouncing fixture, and it can be configured into multiple configurations for different applications. And it has enough power to be direct key, overhead light, and even for indoor and outdoor film sets. So the outdoor film part is very important because previously ARI lighting is not IP rated, but now you can safely use these lights outside without any worry. So whether it's bad weather, rainy weather, or even dusty weather, is perfect for this application. And and essentially this can be also used in studios for TV and events. And what we are trying to do is basically have these lights in the events industry soon. So you'll start to see more of this, hopefully, in the near future of the SkyPanel X in events. So there are also special effects for virtual production and stage lighting applications. This I will touch on more later. And so what's so special about this light is both a soft and hard light. And what's interesting is basically this is a panel light that will project a round beam. And it can be used as multiple units of lighting into one fixture. So this fixture is actually one 800-watt unit. And when connected together, it becomes 2,400 watts. So this one light is actually 3 separate lights. Whereas when I can control everything into one fixture. So this is the first IP66 device, film lighting, in a TV environment, which is something very probably sought after, especially in our region where bad weather always happens. So it has 20 times more output than your typical soft light with 800 watts, and it's RGB ACL. It's got a full spectrum of color signs, meant to work with our cameras, our Alexa series. It has low-end dimming, so it can go all the way up to 0.5%, 0.5%, and it has 8 pixel zones per panel. So you can see here there are 8 zones, 1 to 4, and 5 to 8. So these are the 8 pixel zones. And firstly, what is really different from the previous SkyPanel is that the power supply unit is now inbuilt into the lighting itself. So when it's inbuilt into the lighting, everything is in one package. So our previous sky panel, the S60, is a 400 watt fixture, but you've got to bring around two separate things when it comes to using the lights. So basically like that sky panel over there, there's a power supply unit attached to the back. So to make it more user-friendly for the gaffers and for the crew, putting everything into one package solves a lot of problems for a lot of people. And also storage is a lot easier, which means you have lesser parts to lose. And of course, all the wireless control is fully inbuilt. There are no antennas sticking out. This whole thing is fully weather sealed. So there are 2 power ports and 2 data ports. So the data ports are basically 2 network ports for daisy chaining the light together to control into one fixture. And there is a quick release system here, which is basically these 2 flaps here that will basically help us to release the light to mount it into other yokes. And the Sky Panel X is also the first LED light that connects directly to our ARRI Alexa cameras. So on the light, there's actually the ARRI Alexa mode, which what this mode does is basically it emulates the colors and it basically picks up it basically allows the camera, our Alexa cameras, to pick up the light that is better from our fixture. So because the camera can only pick up a certain spectrum of lighting, but what our lighting does is to match into the camera. And also we have this thing where we actually have the mixed reality and virtual production digital twin for Unreal Engine, where we can put this light into Unreal Engine and emulate whatever we are planning to do with the light. So for example, if we design this light into Unreal Engine, it will be controlled in Unreal Engine. So you can do the pixel modes and you can do mind block. So yeah, this is basically what ARRI has, that we are moving on from doing just typical cameras, lighting, and we are now moving on into software production as well, where we move into things that will enable people to use virtual production smoothly with ARRI equipment. So connectivity-wise, there are many different ports on the back, and they're all fully weather sealed. There's a USB-C port for updating the camera, updating the light, Ethernet port for CRM for daisy chaining the lights together, and including ArtNet, SACN, standard 5-pin DMX in and out. So this light in the future, it can be also powered by 48-volt DC battery, a Limo port for our control panel, and the all-weather control panel, which is on the back over here. So this control panel is not wireless, but it can be used in conjunction with the light with the remote control panel cable. And of course, we have our AC ports. So this little port at the back here is actually what makes it weather-proof. It's also preventing water from collecting inside the lighting so that the water vapor can basically be purged out of the light. So what this light can be configured into is 3 different arrays. One is called the Sky Panel X21, where you have a 2x1 panel similar to the Sky Panel Classic. The X22, which is a 2x2 fixture, and lastly is the X23. So all these 3 is basically 3 separate fixtures, but all put into one. So depending on the user's application, they can basically configure into any kind of configuration they want. And when, for example, users want to build up more, we will actually have more array systems in the future coming soon. So the Sky Panel X is also fully compatible with our previous Sky Panel accessories, where if you are using many Sky Panels and you want to use the diffusion panels, they are actually the Sky Panel S60 adapter, which you can mount on the light, and you can use the previous adapters, softboxes, matte grids on the Sky Panel X. Because we basically want to protect people's investments when they have a lot of Sky Panel S60s, so they can basically use this in the future with their Sky Panel Classic accessories. So we are also creating a twin quick lock bracket, which is basically what we can mount in a straight line to create one very long fixture. And it's quite quick release. Basically, it's the same mounting system as what we use on the yoke. So what do we do? What are the problems that we solve for different people? This robust design, when it's IP66, will basically last longer, is compatible with S60 accessories for previous generations of lighting, and it's got multiple accessories made by different partners like DOP Choice and Chimera as well. So for gaffers and DOPs, you got higher output with an 800-watt fixture in a panel the same size as the SkyPanel Classic. It's IP66 with fully integrated wireless control, CRMX, Bluetooth, and there's even an application from ARRI for the SkyPanel X. And it's modular, which means you can configure the light into many different things. You can basically switch out these attachments, and you've got multiple attachments and multiple configurations. So if I want to use this, which is the hyper optic, and I want to use the dome, which I have here, I can basically put this on and have it maybe a dome and a hyper optic and a dome. So this hyper optic is an 11-degree beam. It's a round beam, which I will show later. And then we have the dome, which is the same as the SkyPanel Classic, is 106 degrees. So better connectivity for console operators is fully integrated wireless, which means everything you want to do can be done in GrandMA, Evo lights, and it's very fast to set up. Everything is already inbuilt, no antennas needed, and you've got more pixel zones to play with as compared to the SkyPanel Classic, which the S60 only has 2 zones. So multiple arrays can be built into one fixture that will make it look like a lighting wall. And of course, for the lighting crew, this one is a lot easier to build up as compared to the SkyPanel Classic. And this, basically, when you have everything inbuilt, you don't need to worry so much about having to bring too many things around. So it's the same size and weight as the SkyPanel S60, and the same working style. We even have legacy options for DMX control in the SkyPanel X with the SkyPanel Classic. We also have the Bluetooth app for the SkyPanel X. So I'll just do a short demonstration on changing the optics. So changing the optics is very simple. There are only 2 locks here, which I can pull down. And once I pull this down, I can release the hot optic. So just like that, even with the face open, this light is still fully IP rated. There's a glass panel on the front here, which means that the LED chips on the back are protected. So as you can see, that the light here is actually a RGB ACL chip, and they're designed to basically work with the hyper optic when it's output. And what this RGB ACL do with our SkyPanel X, we have actually an extended color, correlated color temperature range from 1,500 Kelvin to 20,000 Kelvin, which is one of the most in our lights, as compared to the Orbiter, which is a 2,000 to 20,000. So this one can go even lower, up to 1,500. So with this is actually still usable. You can use this as a bouncing light to throw off into maybe flags or reflectors. So this dome here, as you can see, attaching accessories are very fast and very easy. And of course, safety attachments are also provided on the light, where you can attach safety chains on the light. So, the locking mechanism may be very simple, but it's very secure, as you can feel the click and you can feel the lock when you release and lock the fixture. So this is basically the dome. And so you can use, for example, one dome with one hyper optic and one more dome, depending on how you want to play around with your lighting. So we give people more creative solutions to how they want to light on set and in their shoots. So all 3 fixtures can be mounted with just one stirrup, which is basically this frame over here. And this frame can be constructed into 3 different parts, where you have one part, we have these 3 parts, the one frame, the one modular yoke, and one more frame at the side. So this configuration right here shown on screen is actually the X22, where you can actually have just 2 panels into one fixture. So you can mount it with the standard stirrup, or you can mount it directly on the frame itself. So when you're rigging on a truss, you don't need this to reduce the height from the truss. You can remove this and mount this directly onto the truss, which means hanging it is going to be a lot lower as compared to using the modular yoke over here. So all 3 fixtures can be controlled with one control panel, where I don't need to control each panel individually because all the lights are linked up. So I can turn up the brightness and everything here will turn up together. So this is basically what we have for the control system, which is the same control system as the orbiter. And we have one DMX profile when using a console. So basically it's not controlling 3 different fixtures when you are using the console. And it's just one DMX profile. Like for example, the X23 mode will be controlled as an individual fixture rather than 3 different fixtures. So it can also be controlled wirelessly or by wired SACN or ArtNet or your standard DMX, 5-pin. So feedback from our users, generally our lighting, we do get feedback which is well liked by people. So the SkyPanel X is built to last. It has smart rigging accessories and it's a very versatile LED panel with very strong performance. This is what the feedback that we get for our lighting. And of course, famous cinematographers, James Friend, has also tested out our light. So they were actually on our beta testing when we were building the light. They tested our lights for us. So this is just an example of what you have when you use the light outdoors. So now I'm just going to play a short video.
Certainly be. Wow. Punchy. Now it's a party.
So yes, this is the SkyPanel X. So an example of pixel effects that you can do. Right now, we can show the different pixel zones in the light. And this is an inbuilt effect on the light. And I'm using the ARRI Lyco app, which is available for download for free on any app store, Apple or Android. So basically, this is what are the different pixel effects that we can play right now with the light. You can play with different colors. So this is the cop car effect. And you have the different effects and different colors. And for maybe if people want to play with party modes, there's also this. So all these inbuilt effects are in all our ARRI lighting. And we are always trying to improve on our effects. So in the future, you see more effects for our different users. So an example of CCT going from 1,005 to 20,000. This is CCT at 1,500 Kelvin. And this is all the way up to 20,000 Kelvin. So it's a very extended color temperature, and it can even be controlled with, you can also control your green magenta shift on the SkyPanel X. So there's also all the different modes on the light where you can have your HSI, your XY coordinates, the RGB ACL to control each individual LED chip to see what percentage of lighting that you are looking for. And of course, a wide range of gel selection from Roscoe to Lee, the full range of gels. So all this is available inside one light, and everything can be controlled on the back of the light or on the phone application. So right now, the phone application is still new, which means I can only control one fixture at a time, but I can essentially show all the details of the light in the application, where can I actually have the fixture status, and they actually have all these different functions inside the light where you can see the color temperature, not the color temperature, fixture temperature and whether there are any errors in the light. So this is basically the app that ARRI has come up with after quite a long time. And this application is something that everybody has been waiting for. It's a Bluetooth application and you can just simply connect it to the fixture. And of course, we are also trying to protect people from playing with the lights. So this light, you can actually set a password for the application, so prevent people from entering the light without any permission. So this is basically the SkyPanel X, and this is what we wanted to present today. And right now, you guys can try out our lights at the booth or even our cameras, which we are showing. So what we are featuring at our booth is also on virtual production, where we are actually showing more on our software applications for virtual production, like LiveLink and our color management tool. So for find out more information, scan the QR code, and you can find us at the back. So any questions?